Um, but if you haven't met me before, my name is Brooke. I'm Pastor Peter and Pastor Christine's daughter. And very quickly, if you have a conversation with me, there will be a few things I will talk about. I will talk about God because I love God. I love His Word. I love His redemption. I love His church. I love everything about Him. I love my family. I'll probably show you photos of my family and my nephew and my niece. And I will talk about movies. And I will talk your ear off about movies. And the amount of times we're in the car and someone will say something and I'll say to them, can I geek out for 2 minutes? And they'll give me like a 2-minute timer to geek out all this information I know about this movie. My friends are very, very patient with me. But the amazing thing about my love for movies is that that's often how God speaks to me. And you know the phrase where say, all a cow sees is grass in the world? I think sometimes all I see is movie and movie analogies, and God works with that. And so He'll use movies to help reveal things to me. And so I would love to introduce you to movie offering. Basically, anytime I get to come up and speak, we're going to talk about a movie. But today we're actually taking it a step further, and I'm going to geek out for an offering today. Because today we're actually doing, if we go to the next slide, movie masterclass offering. Where today we're not just going to be discussing a movie, but I'm going to actually be teaching you a masterclass in something I've been studying for the last 2 years. So sit down, get ready. Pastor Peter, forget about your notes. We're just going with this today. Everyone laughs like a nervous laugh. No, today we're going to be looking at something which I've been looking at for the last 2 years. Amazing journey that God's sort of been taking me on about learning to write scripts and to write screenplays. So in my free time, that's what I've been doing. I've been studying screenwriting and the craft of screenwriting. And there's one specific thing which I've been studying and I'm yet to really nail. So recently I've been spending extra time trying to learn about this. And that, if we go to the next one, is writing dialogue for characters. So in a script, similar to in a book, that you'll have your characters, speak. And one of the things that you need for a good script is for it to sound like real life. Every character should have a unique speech pattern, a unique way of expressing themselves, unique words they're using, so that all your characters don't just sound like you. And this is a problem I've been having when I'm reading over the things I've written. I'm like, everyone sounds like me, male, female, old, young. They just sound like Brooke. And I've been really trying to say, okay, how can I make this person sound not like me? How can I make this person actually sound like a man? How can I make it sound? So often when I'm writing, I am picturing someone in my head. Like, how would they say this phrase? Not how would I say it? How would they say it? So I can put them there. Because if we go to the next slide, dialogue in any good movie, it shouldn't just tell you the information. It should tell you more than just what is said. When a character in a good film says something, you should be learning so much about this character. If we go to the next slide, you should be learning about the character's personality. You should be learning about their background, their motivation, what is it they're actually wanting in life, and their relationship to the person, to the place around them. Every time a character speaks, you should be learning all about this as well as the information that's coming out of their mouth. And it's hard. And so that's why for 2 years I've sort of struggled to really get this. And I've been trying to study different screenwriters, study different movies. I watch a movie and I think, how are they making these two characters sound different? How? And so if we go to the next slide, and this is a test I learned about only recently when I was watching a masterclass. And they said the test is switch the dialogue to another character. So if I have my character saying something, they say, son, just take those words and change the name of who's saying it at the top. And he said, if you read it and there's nothing wrong, you've done something wrong. Because if you change your character, it should undo everything. Okay, so to explain this, I'm going to do a fun example. If we go up, let's say I've got to write the same little phrase in my screenplay for 3 different characters. An army general, a bimbo blonde, and a chimney sweep from London. Classic story. All right, if we go to the next one. One of them said, the sky's dark, storm's headed this way. Who could that be? Does that sound like a bimbo blonde? Does that sound like Bert from Mary Poppins? Or does that sound like an army general? It's tough, but I'll let you think about it. We'll go to the next one. By the looks of those clouds, I'd say it looks like we're all in for a spot of rain tonight. Okay, think about it. Is that an army general? Thank you. Pastor Christine thinks it's British. Well done, Pastor Christine. And if we go to the next one, wow, did you guys see outside? It's like really black and creepy. We should definitely all stay indoors so we don't get wet or blown away. Okay, army general is what Pastor Peter is guessing. Okay, so that's obviously quite a fun example. But if we go to the next slide, so we've got these three characters. Can you understand that if I took the words I had written for the army general and switched it to the bimbo blonde, it wouldn't sound right? Or if I took the words of the bimbo blonde and put them in the mouth of an army general, it would really not sound right. And so what this teacher was saying, he said, that's your test. If you think, I don't know if I've really nailed these characters sounding different, he said, just try to imagine, could any other character say these words? And if they could, go back, and you have to go back to say, okay, how can I use these words to tell you more about this character? What have I done wrong that anyone could actually say these words? And so I was thinking about this week for the script I was writing, thinking, okay, how can I ensure that every character is unique? And suddenly God sort of stopped me and said, what about in real life? He said, what if I took the words that were coming out of your mouth and put them in someone else's mouth? Would there be a problem? If we go to the next slide. How am I talking about God and my finances? Are the words that I'm saying about God and the words I'm declaring over my finances, could I just take those words, if we go to the next slide, switch them with a non-Christian, and would there be anything wrong? If a non-Christian was saying the words that I'm declaring about my finances, would society think there's something weird about that? Or is what I'm saying so within the zeitgeist of society and so on par with what everyone down the street says, would my words in the mouth of a non-Christian actually not cause any ripples? If we go to the next one, if I took my confessions and what if I switched them with someone who didn't believe in tithing? If I put my words in the non-tither, would their friends go, whoa, what has happened to you? Why are you speaking this way? Or is it actually just it all sounds the exact same? If we go to the next one, what if I switch into someone, a non-believer or someone who doesn't believe in faith? You know, are my words so filled with faith that if someone in the community said them, all their friends would look at them and say, what has happened to you? If I see the prices rise, is my first declaration, oh man, society, this is getting hard. And then, you know what, next person says it, that's fine. Or is it my first words are, no, I'm a tither, and you know what, God's going to provide all my needs. Amen. And then suddenly the next person, a truck driver, comes up and says that, they would say, there's something weird here. As what I'm saying, am I just speaking like everyone else in my society, or is my words so rooted in my relationship with God? It is so driven by my motivation to be a generous sower. Is it telling you the history of my God providing all my needs? Is my words being filled with the promises of God that I'm standing with? That you could not take my words and switch them with anyone else. You know what? We should be so specific that my words couldn't even come out of Pastor Peter's mouth because my words are in my revelation of finances. My words are rooted in the times I have seen God provide. Pastor Peter should speak because he has a revelation of God. No one even in this church, we shouldn't be able to switch out each other's words because every one of us, when we see prices rise, when we see a bill come in that's unexpected, when we see an upcoming deadline, our words should be so rooted in, if we can go back to that slide, Jay, where it talks about what the words should reveal, where it says, okay, it should be our personality, but it should have our background. It should have our history of every time God has provided. Every time God has supernaturally provided this for this church. Every time in the Bible when we have read that God would use animals to feed people, he would make the loaves and the fishes feed 5,000. It should be read by our motivation to say that we are a lampstand church and we are a generous church and we are sowing into this community. And it should have our relationship with our God. We should be speaking about finances because our God is our Father. Our God is our provider. Our God is our friend. Our God cares for us. Our God loves us. So, we're going to sing this song again, and I just want to challenge you. I'm going to actually get the buckets put up the front here, because we'll put the details for actually how to give on screen now. But, as you're coming forward, and we're just going to be singing that song that we've been singing, I want you to speak while you're walking up to these offering buckets. And, if you've given online, I implore you to still come and even just put your hand on the bucket. But I want you to make a confession on your way to these buckets that could not be switched with any other person. They couldn't be switched with our community. The other factories of Bayswater, the words about their finances should sound so different to the words that are found in this church. I want you to look about and say, what specific promises has God given you and your family? And you speak about those promises when you come to the offering. Because you know what? Our words have such power. Our words, Pastor George Pearson's from Eagle Mountain Church, he preached a message years ago when he said, you will meet your words in your future. You know what? The words that we are saying in this offering, I want us to meet them tomorrow and say, that was my promise. That was my declaration. That was my standing on God's word. So I invite you to give. The details are up here for FPOS at the back, direct deposit, giving online. If you're online, the details are below me here. But I encourage you, as we sing this song, don't sing along. Actually, make your declaration. Make a declaration which when hell hears it, they go, I know who that's from. There's only one person that those declarations could have come from. So I invite you to band, sing, and come forward when you're ready. Mercy is for